Accrediting Excellence, the International Authority for Professional Coaching and Mentoring, proudly presents Both Sides of the Coin.
Many life transitions don't announce themselves clearly. They begin quietly, through changes in energy, mood, sleep, or focus, and ask us to listen more closely. Have you ever felt that something in your body or energy has shifted, but you couldn't quite explain it, and no one had really prepared you for it? For many women, that question marks the beginning of perimenopause, a transition that often starts quietly and is frequently misunderstood or overlooked. It often begins years before menopause, up to 10 years sometimes, and yet it's rarely recognized as a powerful preparation phase, a chance to build the foundations for health, for resilience and confidence in what comes next. Today, we will get some top tips on how to best coach someone navigating this period and enter menopause with confidence and clarity. Welcome to Both Sides of the Coin, a podcast produced by the International Authority for Professional Coaching and Mentoring, the IAPCM. We are a leading accreditation body. Our aim is to increase public confidence and to raise industry standards by enforcing a rigorous accreditation process that ensures the quality of professional coaches and mentors. In the Both Sides of the Coin podcast, we explore coaching and mentoring interventions from two perspectives, the coach and the client, looking at what genuinely supports change during and what works and what doesn't. I'm Catalina Flore, your host and an accredited fellow coach. I've been coaching for 20 plus years, mainly in the area of executive coaching, leadership development, and holistic health and well-being. And before we begin, I'd like to thank you, our listeners, because this podcast exists because of you. We are here to serve you. I'm also grateful for the presence of our guests who generously share both professional insight and lived experience so we can explore coaching in a real and meaningful way. And many of our listeners are coaches themselves, and many are women navigating their own health transitions. So as you listen today, I invite you to notice not just what is said, but how coaching supports clarity, self-trust, and ethical practice. Joining me today are Geeta Taylor, naturopathic nutritional therapist, well-being coach, and NLP master practitioner. She's a senior trainer at Robbins Research International. Geeta has been working with individuals and companies for over a decade, helping them feel energized, well, and vibrant through changing their nutrition and lifestyle behaviors. By supporting clients to create a strong physical body and a clear mind. She's a circle facilitator, a coach devoted to holding spaces where people can slow down, come home to themselves, and reconnect with their true creative nature. Her work is not about fixing or improving. It's about creating the conditions for truth, for presence, and inner wisdom to emerge. We have also the honor to have Surinder Kira, who is currently in perimenopause, preparing to step at some point into menopause with confidence and power. And welcome, both of you. I'm going to start with Geeta and then flip over the coin and speak with Surinder. Geeta, welcome. Could you briefly tell us about your work and what led you to specialize in women's health, particularly perimenopause and menopause?
Hey, Catalina. Thank you for having me on this podcast. I would say what led me to work with women going through perimenopause and menopause is, well, because I went through the journey myself, and my journey back then was with pain and confusion and fear. And if I had known then what I know now, I feel my journey would have been a lot different. The
Yeah.
word menopause has a lot of emotional baggage around it. No women is thinking, oh my God, menopause, I can't wait. We're not, because in the past, the word menopause has probably been linked to things like life is over, or the feeling like it's all over for
Yes.
me, it's all downhill, and a lot of doom around it. So, you know, that for me is a mindset shift, because in order to have the health, the vitality, you need to really embrace the change, the lifestyle shift that's going on, so that you've got more clarity around what you can do, and that knowing that actually, in my opinion, it's when life begins. And when I made those nutritional and mental shifts, that really helped me get into my confidence, and I would say in a powerful state again. So I teach women about the mindset shift around menopause, but also the physical or nutritional shifts that need to be made to support the body in that phase.
And coach them through this or to navigate this transition as well as possible. And
Yes.
as you wonderfully say, it is not the end, it's the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And why perimenopause is a key coaching window?
I would say because it's a life stage shift, and it's not black and white. Okay, it's not one day you're feeling great and the next day, you're on the floor. Something's happened all the way through, and I think that awareness hasn't been there of my body's changing, because we don't always listen to the body. Um, so why is it a key coaching period? It's a time where we sometimes make decisions about life. Things are magnified, especially things that we haven't resolved in the past. That when we come into menopause, it's like, oh my God, I'm not where I wanted to be, or I'm not in the relationship I want to be, or you're in a relationship, and because your emotions are heightened, you feel things more. I was looking at some data in the UK, and 60% of divorces are initiated by women in
Yes.
their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And this is where coaching is really critical, because when our emotions are high, sometimes we will make poor decisions. They may not be right for us. So with coaching, you get clarity about what's going on with you, and really what do you want next, without jumping and making choices that you
Yeah,
don't really want. Yeah.
absolutely. And unfortunately, your statistics is not only in the UK, but quite yeah, it's pervasive in the world. And you mentioned moving from confusion to clarity. Many women describe feeling not quite themselves. They lose connection with themselves. And what's happening beneath the surface, Gita, and how do you help clients through your coaching move from coaching and mentoring, of course, to move from confusion to clarity without overwhelming them?
So, our hormones are communication molecules. Okay. They're communicating with the brain, the gut, the organs, the cells. And during perimenopause, there is a hormonal roller coaster happening underneath, and sometimes we don't even know it's happening. Our estrogen and progesterone are linked to neurotransmitters. So, for example, progesterone down the downward stream metabolite of progesterone actually helps us receive or feel GABA more. Okay, and GABA is that neurotransmitter that helps us feel calm, grounded. It helps us sleep. So if you can imagine, if you're not sleeping really well and one night's fine, 2 nights fine, but if it becomes 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, we don't feel like ourselves. The same thing is also happening with estrogen, because that interacts really closely with serotonin and dopamine, and they influence mood, motivation, confidence. So when estrogen is spiking, we feel great, energized, but when it dips, our mood dips too. We get brain fog, we get tearful. So these things can creep up and we're not realizing it's a hormonal pattern. So what the most important thing to really do is to let a woman know that this is fine. And really when I'm moving them from confusion to clarity, that's an important step. Okay, that these hormonal shifts are normal. Okay, there's nothing wrong with you. This is a natural state your body's going through, and accepting, so allowing them to accept where they are and then showing them pathways that they can move forward with. So what I think is really important where coaching comes in is that clarity of, what do I want to do? Do I want to move down a medical pathway, or do I want to stay down a natural pathway? But it's having that clarity. And then I think the most important thing, regardless of which pathway you're going to go, is allowing women to have a compelling future. So it's the big why, okay? Because life, I really feel stronger now than I have ever before. And I believe that menopause is a state where women can become, or a stage that women can become really powerful and a powerful force for good. We have the life experience that backs up with confidence, with a great physical body and a mindset which can make us quite unstoppable. That's how I feel.
Yes, and I feel very inspired hearing this, and building a compelling future, maybe trying new things that we've never thought would be possible for us, can create so much joy in our life and propel us further into our next stages, because it's a privilege to be here and to get older. So when women come looking for answers or quick fixes, how do you decide, Gita, what to focus on first and what to intentionally leave for later?
I think what's really important, again, this comes about educating and giving clarity around what's going on. So we have symptoms and then we have root causes. So most women want to resolve the symptoms, of course, because they can be quite aggravating. But symptoms and root cause can be completely different. So, for example, over time, they may have been, the gut may have been not in the right place. And as I say, in menopause or perimenopause, things are magnified. So when you arrive in perimenopause, the gut doesn't get better if you haven't changed anything, it gets worse. So that's a root cause. But the symptoms can be other things, yeah, because the gut plays a huge role in how estrogen is metabolized and removed. So I think it's important to address aggravating symptoms first. But again, we always go back to that mindset shift, because quick fixes are never really quick. We both know that, being in this arena for a long time. because you can end up going down endless rabbit holes.
Absolutely.
We give some easy wins, which I think is different, and then we teach women how to work on those root causes, and work around what is possible for them. And the other thing that I think is really important is that this thing about what is a goal and what is a reward. Okay, and I think we get mixed up about that. Yeah, because for example, if a woman wants to lose weight, if that becomes her goal, she may do the wrong thing to reach that goal. Okay,
Absolutely.
but if she kind of raises her standards and she, from a mindset perspective, she starts to eat better. She's got some standards and principles around nutrition, around exercise, around lifestyle. If she starts to make that her goal, then the reward is the weight loss. And she'll do
Absolutely.
it in the right way, as opposed to the quick fixes that we talked about earlier.
And this is a major difference in mindset.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tell me, what changes when women raise their standards, build resilience during perimenopause, rather than waiting until menopause symptoms intensify?
I'm going to just say, if you've worked through perimenopause in the right way, then the only thing that can happen is that you're going to build confidence. So start early, because you're going to work out these things quickly. So what you're doing is you're nipping things in the bud before they become bigger. So, a few things that we also want to make sure that is, when we start to work in perimenopause, is that you can start to support your bones early. You can start to support your brain early instead of waiting until menopause. Really, building confidence and feeling great in the body is an important part of the next stage of the journey. When you feel great in your body, it goes back to that compelling future, compelling vision. You can fulfill your dreams in menopause and beyond. Yeah, and you can actually see a pathway. You can actually plan. You can actually go and like you were saying earlier, you can try new things out. Okay, but if you leave it till menopause, I think I'm not going to say you've lost that window. I think any change can happen at any time of your life stage, but I think it's easier to do it when that shift is happening, as opposed to it's all done now. Let me get my body into shape. You just have to work a little bit harder for it.
Okay. And we know that perimenopause can bring vulnerability and identity shifts. You were mentioning this. Can you share how you decide in practice what sits within coaching and when another form of support is needed?
Oh my God, that's such an important part of coaching. Because in perimenopause, the emotions are up and down. There's a roller coaster. And sometimes I think that can blur the lines of what is coaching and what is not. But we have to go with it, with awareness. In practice, coaching really sits well when there is awareness that a woman is making choices and is aware of the choices she's making. So if a woman can reflect on her experience, she can notice the patterns that she's going through. She can kind of articulate what feels right and what doesn't feel right. She can experiment with new things, like, try new things out. Coaching's great for things like that. She's going to go through an identity shift. She's going to question who she is. there may be that loss of confidence. She might be feeling irritable or feeling unlike myself. Those are great coaching experiences that she can have, and a coach can be great at helping her navigate through this transition. That, I think, is all within the territory of coaching. What we're doing then is we are helping them understand, we're helping them reframe, we're building resilience, and we can help them create practical strategies on how to do that. Extra support is really when she's not able to reflect properly because her emotions feel unmanageable. And there's a difference between unmanageable and uncomfortable.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, sorry, go ahead.
So how do professional standards, accreditation, and supervision support you in making those decisions well?
I think they're really important because they give us that clear scope and ethical boundaries. So it helps me recognize what sits within my role and what doesn't. And I think it's really important that we don't try to be the hero in their journey. And we let go when we know we're not the right person to deal with the situation they're in, and give them do the honorable thing and really just help, like refer them to who can actually help them. I think that's a really important part of following professional standards or having professional standards.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I will end with this question for you, Geeta. From your experience, what does it look like when a woman enters menopause, having prepared well during perimenopause?
I love that question. I'm going to say she is empowered, and I'm given my experience as well, and then some of what my clients say as well. I've got my life back. Yeah, I can, I can go out and do this, this, and this. I'm going to say empowered. She's empowered and feeling great in her body and mind, and those are really important things.
Thank you very, very much, Geeta. Thank you. And I'd love to flip the coin now and hear, Surinder, your experience. Thank you so much, Surinder, for your generosity to be here. And I'm very curious if you can tell us a little bit about yourself and what was happening in your life when you decided to seek support during perimenopause.
Thank you so much. Firstly, total gratitude for being here. I'm privileged, very much so. So I'm a coach and circle worker, helping women and holding space for them to connect with their true creative self. And for me at that time, I was in full drive mode. I was in go, go, go. My relationship with my husband was up and down. I was confused. I was really forcing myself to do tasks. I lacked energy. I had a blood test with the doctors, and they said, you're not menopause stage, and that's it. I was left at that stage. There was no other information. I knew of HRT, but I didn't want to go down that road. And I was really depleted, and I felt like there was something wrong with me because I felt like all these other women seem to be getting on with life. Why can I not do this? And I had done some personal development work, and I was really forcing myself to get myself up and going and not really understanding my body and my way. And I also had probably not the full training, like a lot of women may be listening as well. I didn't actually fully understand the perimenopause stage. I knew there was a menopause stage, but I think the perimenopause stage, I didn't understand. And like Geeta mentioned, symptoms. I had symptoms like lower back pain, plantar fasciitis, which I never would have guessed could be part of this too.
Yes. You started working with Geeta. She's a wonderful coach. We know that. And I'm curious, what felt most supportive about the way Geeta worked with you in coaching?
Wow. It was the trust of her background, her experience, but also there was an aspect of me being okay for where I was at that point in my life. You know, it's okay to be in perimenopause. And Geeta mentioned earlier on, it's that acceptance phase. You know, really learning to accept perimenopause. I had a phase where I had cried in the past to my husband about, you know, I'm going through this perimenopause stage and I felt like I was falling apart. You're going to have to help me get through this, because I didn't have the understanding. So learning to accept the stage I was at, acknowledging as it's a part of life, as opposed to there's a problem and I can't deal with this problem, or it's something external. Geeta really helped me in terms of accepting the meaning that I had towards this new phase of my life. And it was a phase, you know, it's a phase of my life, you know, it was, and looking at it from a point of view, things can change. And it was things like my vision towards the future, you know, how I wish to impact my children going forward. I've got a daughter, you know, teaching her what these phases are. We had conversations along those lines too, and really supporting my mindset in getting that understanding. So it gave way for me to give permission to myself to do the work that was required, and things like gut, which I would never have guessed was to do with that phase of my life.
Absolutely. So to sum up, how has coaching helped you feel better physically, emotionally, and mentally, building up your compelling future, as Geeta was saying? And how does that support you in stepping into the next phase with more confidence?
Body-wise, I feel so much more stronger, more confident in my body, more accepting of my body. I have lost weight, although the intention was more about becoming more healthier. For me, yes, that I wanted to lose weight, but it was more about becoming healthy, fit, and getting vitality. And as a repercussion, I lost weight, and I feel great about it. I took activities that worked for me. So in my body, I felt healthier. In my mind, I gained a sense of clarity as to the way I wish to go forward. Before, I was forcing myself, even in trying to become a coach, you know, I felt like I was just going back and forth. But now I'm at a place in my life where I'm not allowing my mindset to get in my way. It happens, there's ups and downs, but the clarity in terms of the direction I wish to go, that helped in a huge manner. And the energy that I have now compared to, oh my God, when I first started working with Geeta, it's so different. It's so different. I have the ability to get up and go. I've got the ability to go to the gym now, you know, and also archetypes. One of the things that we worked on was the archetypes that I could tap into, a part of me. And one was looking at Ayurvedic nutritionist, how I make my food choices. Another was the athlete that goes to the gym. And one particular one was when we did something to do with Devi and Durga. And that really helped me align with my reason for taking this on. And I think as much as it was important for me as to the vision of my future and my why and what I wish to create for me, myself, and my family, it was also, why am I actually doing this with Geeta? And I think that was a huge part of the change, because it was so important for me to understand why I'm actually doing this. It wasn't just about fixing the problem, so-called. It was bigger than that, you know, it was more so than that. And allowing myself to put myself at the front, and take care of myself and my body in its whole being. And the coaching helped me, support me to do that, and actually give myself permission to do that. And I think sometimes as women, we don't often do that. We don't give ourselves permission to put ourselves first, our body first, our mind, and gain that clarity. And I think that's such a huge part of what I've gained from this, and feeling more empowered. And it's like getting back the reins, you know, of my life. I felt like I was always externally driven, whereas now I feel like it's more internal. There's a bit more center to me, and I feel more connected with who I am.
Very wise words. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And I would like to end with one question, because we are a top accreditation body in the world, and we are looking always to raise the industry standards in coaching. What are a couple of tips you would give coaches from a client's perspective?
Definitely authenticity as to where they're at. And I think that was one of the things that attracted me to Geeta. She was authentic. Clarity in terms of knowing what they're talking about. I think it was really important for me. One of the things that I found that was great about Geeta was it wasn't just about the science, but it was also the Ayurveda. And she gave information with science-backed studies that allowed me to gain even more trust in what she was doing. She knew what she was talking about, and that really helped. And also, in terms of the coaching aspect, is the belief in me, right? I think that was another huge part that really helped, because her belief in me helped me shift, and that confidence in her supported my journey. So I would say those are my main points.
Thank you very much. And thank you both for such an open and thoughtful conversation. And what stands out is that perimenopause doesn't have to be a time of confusion or struggle. With the right support, it can become a powerful preparation phase, helping women feel better in themselves and move forward with confidence into the next stage of life. And for coaches listening, this conversation is a reminder that our role isn't to rush or fix, but to support clarity, pacing, self-trust, all within the clear professional boundary, offering the right information. It's okay when it's needed. We are confident that anyone who attains an International Authority for Professional Coaching and Mentoring accreditation will be among the very best the profession has to offer. If you're interested in working with an accredited coach or becoming accredited yourself, you can find more at coach-accreditation.services. And finally, if there is a topic you'd like me to cover in future episodes of Both Sides of the Coin, I'd love to hear from you. You can email me at catalina.podcast@coach-accreditation.services. Geeta, where people can find you?
They can find me on Instagram and LinkedIn, more on LinkedIn, because I spend a little bit of time there, and on Facebook as well. So,
Geeta Taylor, what is the address?
Oh yes, sorry, that would be really good. So it's at Health with Geeta on Instagram, and under Functional Nutrition Clinic on Facebook, which is my handle, and the same for LinkedIn.
Thank you very much. And thank you all for listening, and goodbye for now.